a question from Chip Howard from Sports Talk.
Hey, Buzz, last year you mentioned that you weren't crazy about the idea of playing this challenge series in the middle of conference play. Have you changed your mind any on that?
No, and I understand the finances involved and all the TV opportunities that come from it. So, not being not that anybody cares what I think anyway, but it's the only time in my career that I've ever participated in made for TV game during the middle of conference. That was my first time last year. So all of the other challenges, Chip, that I've been able to be a part of, they always happen prior to conference play.
Are there things that you're trying to do or can do to get E-Man more touches earlier? Obviously, defenses are keying on him, but I know you want him taking more than 2 shots like he did the other night.
Yeah, I did not think E-Man was very good, regardless of the amount of touches. I don't think he was clued in on either end of the floor the way we have become accustomed to. And I think that's just part of the evolution of what he's going through in being a real guy, is answering the bell night in and night out on both sides of the floor. We went back to the hockey sub, let's play 5 and try 5 again. That was the least number of minutes that he had played in our game against Auburn. And I didn't think he was great against Auburn, and he wasn't great against LSU. Our team, arguably, that has been 2 of our better games in regards to the sustainability and consistency from both teams. So, but as I've said, regardless, last week it was the seniors. This week it's pick a person, pick a player. We need everybody to be at their best in regards to their effort, their attitude, and hopefully we can get to the point where we can play on both sides of the ball and execute the scouting report the way we want.
Given what you got from the other players, an argument could be made that if he'd have just had his normal game, you guys probably would have won that game.
Or in all of the other games when we have gotten nothing from those guys, we might could have won those games.
Yeah,
Probably
that's true.
It's kind of like it's like my grandma would always say, boy, they don't make glasses for you. They make my glasses for me. If you had to put on my glasses, you'd see things a little different.
Thanks.
All right, next up is Travis Brown from the Eagle.
Hey, Coach. Curious, beginning of last season when you were getting Andre up and going, you were kind of saying that you really didn't have any true point guards in the program. Now with Hassan, with what Andre's been able to improve, kind of where do you see your point guard positions and the depth that you have there?
I think what you want to do, Travis, and I think every coach has a different philosophy on this, because as the game has evolved, it's become so positionless. And so every coach will say, we want as many hard to guard guys as possible. We want as many pass, dribble, shoot guys as possible. In years past, I've always called them a switchable, guys that could defend multiple positions, guys that could do multiple things offensively. I think at the very core of it, can you have 2.5 point guards on your team, and can you have 2.5 5s on your team? And if that constitutes 5 of your 13 scholarships, then those 8 other scholarships are in between that. I don't think that we're quite where we want to be at any position per se, but I do think that there's much more stability with Hassan being here the last semester relative to ball guards. That helps Dre so much. I don't think Dre was good in our last 2 games, but man, without what he had done in the previous 12 games, I don't think we would even be close to where we're at now. And I think he has gained some traction similar to E-Man. And I think Hassan has had to step into a situation where he knew he was going to have to play, but now he's having to play and be effective. And when he's not effective, that really hurts our team. But when those 2 guys play together in a game and help us or play separately in a game and help us. Obviously, it's huge relative to our roster.
And with Andre, is there a quality of his game that from maybe this point last year to this point today that has improved to kind of help show that maturity and that just overall improvement in being a point guard?
He's so much better, and I could bore you with statistics that we track. He's so much better off 2 feet than he's ever been last year, and he's so much better playing with 2 hands. He's become a 2-foot, 2-handed player. Which way he drives, when he drives, the decisions he makes with the ball, regardless of where the ball is at. I would say, without boring you with the stats that we keep, that would be the most distinguishable quality from this time last year to this time this year. He's much more stable, 2 feet, 2-hand decision maker. And then defensively, I would say he's been the most improved and is the most consistent in playing to our cover 2 rules than any player in our program.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on to John Wilson from KBTX.
Coach, does Kansas State remind you of any SEC team that you've played this year, and what challenges will they present you guys this weekend?
Good question. They have very methodical, disciplined style of play. I would say of the teams that we've competed against thus far in the SEC, John, I would say it would be most like Tennessee in regards to half court offensively, what they're trying to accomplish. You know, Coach Barnes has a distinct system that he plays offensively and a distinct style defensively. I would say that K-State probably mirrors them the most. And I think for us, regardless of opponent, even regardless of locale, the thing that we have to continue to focus on is a very narrow focus, as we talked about on Saturday, or I guess we talked about it on Tuesday. Can we keep the ball out of the box defensively? And then can we get a shot on the rim offensively? You know, 8 turnovers was our lowest total turnover number for the season and easily our lowest turnover percentage rate for the season. And that was why for a long period of time, it was a game. And then only 35% of the time did LSU get to the box, which was easily our lowest percentage of the year. So we've got to continue to stay on those things today and tomorrow and practice, and then hope that it comes to life early Saturday morning again.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next up is Olin Buchanan from Texags.
Yeah. First of all, Buzz, what kind of progress, if at all, are you seeing from your bigs, Marfo and Jonathan?
Yeah, I think they've been markedly better, and I say that not being sarcastic. You know, there was a stretch of time where they were giving us nothing, and we've done a better job over the last 3 weeks as a program. We've kind of dispersed some of the hours that were allowed each week, and we've went back to having individual workouts. That's one of the things, Olin, that I've done a bad job of this season. You know, how we structure our calendar here, I think, is unique to our approach in building a foundation. So, for example, specific to Jonathan Aku was admitted to Texas A&M the Friday afternoon before school started on Monday. So last year, he did not have a summer with us. He's the first player in my career who never had a summer with us since Jay Crowder, who was a junior college transfer who was in summer school. And then this summer, I sent our guys home because of the pandemic. So Aku has missed both summers. And then Marfo obviously missed this past summer because of the pandemic. And so this is our 3rd week. We have went back to we're given an hour and a half per week to individual workouts 3 times a week. And we just kind of disperse them amidst their academic calendar. And I really think we've seen glimpses of it from every player, but I think the highest rate of return has for sure been with Marfo and Aku. And I think that's been good, and that's helped our team. You know, can we get 40 minutes from Marfo and Aku? That's always a telltale sign. We weren't able to do it on Tuesday, but we approached that. The game before, I think we almost got to 40, but there were multiple times where we weren't even getting to 30 with those 2 guys relative to their production. And that just puts an inordinate amount of stress, not on E-Man because he can handle it, but on the rest of the roster, because when E-Man has to go to the 5 for long stretches, that means somebody else is playing those in-between spots. So encouraged by their production level over the last, I guess it would be 2.5, 3 games. And we need that over the next 12 games.
And you were very upbeat the other night because of the effort, and just asking you how confident you are that maybe the shots aren't going to fall the same, but that you're going to be able to get that kind of effort from here on out.
I don't know. I was upbeat, to be honest, Olin, because of the effort, just like you said. I'll take the bullets relative to the results. I understand that comes with the chair that I sit in, but I think the results will change when there's more consistency from the effort. And so we're about to practice. As you know, probably we were off yesterday. It's an early start on Saturday, so we'll try to travel once our kids get out of school tomorrow. But that's the whole key to this. Can we gain some traction relative to the effort? And then now I think our measurables become different because of the effort. But our struggles, yes, we've lost. Our struggles have been at the foundation, at the core of it, based on effort, our spirit, our attitude, etc. So it'll be interesting to see how we do today, how we do tomorrow, and then does that same life come into effect on Saturday morning?
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next up is Michael Lucas from KAGS, and then we'll have a follow-up from Chip.
I was going to ask about Aku, and Owen kind of asked it, but I'll kind of ask it a different way. Coach, do you feel like he's on the precipice of making that next step? He had 8 rebounds, a career high against LSU, and it seemed like some of those rebounds were some manly rebounds going over guys.
Yeah.
So do you feel like he's at least on the edge of taking that next step as far as his rebounding goes?
I do, and I think Nebo covered up a lot of that last year, and it was easy to dismiss. Aku was supposed to be a senior in high school. Aku didn't get here for the summer. Aku didn't get to go on the trip to Puerto Rico. Nebo finally figured out who Nebo was, and we figured out how good Nebo could be. And over the last 10 or 12 games, there weren't any minutes for Aku. He was great at Tennessee, had 7 rebounds. He was the difference at Tennessee last year. And then this spring would have been gigantic for him and E-Man and Andre, for that matter. This summer would have been huge for those same 3 kids, along with the 4 freshmen we brought in. This summer would have been healthy for Marfo, another newcomer who had experience, just to better understand how we want to operate. And as I said before, none of those guys were here this summer. It was never public knowledge. I didn't want to make that public. We did not come back to school at the beginning of school. I didn't ever want that to be public. And so we've been behind, but I do think your words on Aku are right. I think he's right on the cusp. Is it going to happen today or tomorrow? I don't know. But some of those 8 rebounds that he got, you know, it kind of made you have a second glance like, oh, is that a new Aku, or is that the next Aku, or is that going to be who Aku becomes? And he is a unbelievable human being. I would say he's the most liked person in our program. Like his spirit, as someone, English is not his first language. He's very intelligent, but his spirit and him being one of us and wanting to do what we're asking him to do is phenomenal. And we just need him to now take the next step. And I believe he will. What's the timeline on that, Mike? I'm not exactly sure, but some of what we have seen glimpses of over the last 3 games approach. He might have a real role on this team relative to his future. And the encouraging thing is he's going to be a sophomore again next year. So that's good.
Thank you.
All right, we'll wrap it up with Chip Howard.
As I wanted to go back, you made a statement that Kansas State was methodical. I think that was being a little kind, but they've had a lot of trouble scoring the basketball a lot of times this year. I'm wondering and when you say that, it's like two pitchers with 0 ERAs, and the game turns out 10-9. But on paper, this looks like a game in the 50s to low 60s because that's what teams are averaging. Are you still comfortable with that kind of result if that's the game that it turns out to be Saturday?
Hey, Chip, this Zoom is with Buzz Williams, not with Bruce Weber. Right? Were you talking about Kansas State or were you talking about the fighting Texas Aggies?
Well, both teams are pretty similar in how they play and the difficulty they have in scoring the ball.
Yeah, so not sticking up for Coach Weber. We don't have dinner together, but I have the utmost respect for him. I think he's probably dealing with some of the same dilemmas the Aggies are. So, yeah, I think it'll be more of a tractor pull than a beauty contest on Saturday morning. That may be why they scheduled us at 11:30 because they knew you weren't going to be awake by then.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, that's what we got. Thank you.